I'd like to welcome everyone to Creating Change, and that's how creativity and innovation power poverty reduction, climate action, and shared prosperity webinar. So in this featured presentation, we'll explore how creativity and innovation are not luxuries. They are essential tools for solving poverty, climate change, and inequality. So every breakthrough begins with an idea. So this is going to be a very visual presentation. So in this slide we're looking at why creativity matters today. All right, so creative industries generate 2.3 trillion globally, and that's as of 2020. It covers cultural goods, arts, crafts, publishing, and services, advertising, architecture, audiovisual design, music, performing arts, software, and games. And then when you look at how innovation accelerates economic resilience, right? So innovation, when supported by complementary policies, accelerated economic resilience to major shocks, right? Does accelerate economic resilience. So creativity fuels economies, drives resilience, and enables inclusive growth. Without innovation, progress stalls, especially in time of crisis. So viewing creativity as a poverty reduction tool. So with skills comes access to jobs, and it also comes to income, right? Being able to earn an income. So creative skills lowers barriers to entry in digital and freelance economies, providing access to tools where market exists. Then social enterprises, they also create inclusive livelihood. They are significantly more likely than in conventional firms to create inclusive livelihoods for marginalized populations. That's according to the World Bank and OECD. Though their overall employment scale remains limited. So innovation opens doors where traditional systems fail. So creative industries and social enterprises create jobs that are accessible, flexible, and community-based. Next slide. So when we look at innovation and climate action, so we're looking at it as different segments. So um, examples as a frugal climate solution, another example is circular design reuse models, and then you have the nature-based innovations. So when we look at the frugal climate solutions, like it shows that effective climate action does not need to be expensive or high-tech. They focus on affordable, simple, accessible ideas that meet core needs. So the example you saw before this slide is the Indians clay fridge, right? And then this one is the cleaner fishing boats in Colombia, right? And then you also have the women-led solar lighting programs in Madagascar. Okay. So when you look at secular design, right? Secular design and reuse models, right? It proves that waste is not an endpoint, it's a design flow. So by treating discarded materials as valuable resources, these innovations reduce emissions, lowers cost, and build resilience in every scale, from the village repairs cafe to an entire industrial park. So these are also some examples that are on screen. Now, when we look at nature-based innovations, right, they leverage ecosystems to fight climate change. So examples include restoring peatlands as carbon sinks, using mangroves for storm protection, and implementing green roofs for urban cooling. So unlike purely technological fix, these solutions simultaneously capture carbon, reduce disaster risk, and restore diversity, offering cost-effective proven climate action aligned to global governance goals. So these are all examples. And under this, you have the biomimicry, which one of our panelists will be showcasing. So creativity allows us to reduce emissions while meeting human needs. Next slide. So we're looking at innovation builds resilience. So you with you know, with resilience building, particularly clean technology, pre-shock product development, and adaptive infrastructure. But the relationship is conditional on innovation type, timing, and irresponsible governance. So we're looking at innovation. So we're looking at innovative communities recover faster from crisis. So that idea. So when we see, so they recover faster from crisis, like by leveraging pre-existing social capital, distributed decision making, and centralized flexible funding and agile governance structures. Then the other one, so local solution way. So local solutions outperform one size fits all models. So local solutions outperform when context when the context varies significantly. So this is documented in healthcare, it's documented in governance, and also in development. But also know that purely local approaches face higher cost and resource constraints, making hybrid models that balance local adaptation with replicable efficiency cause the most effective strategy. So resilience is not just infrastructure, it's adaptability. Communities that innovate locally are better prepared for climate, economic, and social shocks. Next slide. So we're looking at innovation gaps are justice gaps. Now, the World Economic Forum, UNDP, and Climate Justice Scholarship all confirm that unequal access to climate adaptation, health, and green technologies directly translates into unequal protection from risk and unequal access to opportunities. Through closing innovation gaps requires, though closing innovation gaps requires complementary investments in local capacity and governance, not technology transfer alone. So looking in this, well, we're looking at marginalized communities face barriers to capital, they face barriers to technology, and they face barriers to network. So when we say capital, we're saying they're denied bank loans, they have higher interest rates. Then when we say they are provided high interest rates, then when we look at technology, we're looking at persistent digital devices. Sorry, we're looking at persistent digital divides beyond basic needs. And then we're looking at mobile only reliance. And then with network, we're looking at strong internal ties, but weak institutional connection. Now, with these barriers reinforcing one another in cycles of exclusion. Now, though communities actively navigate these constraints through resilience and strong bonding capital, right? They do. Now, the other one is exclusion deepens inequality. So innovation benefits disproportionately flow. So innovation benefits disproportionately flow to STEM and highly skilled workers. So you have the lost Einsteins from low income and marginalized backgrounds never get to innovate. And innovator consumer homophily means innovations systemically favor already advantaged groups. Though targeted interventions like community-based digital inclusion and balanced institutional framework can break this cycle. So when access to innovation is unequal, outcomes are unequal. Equity must be embedded into high solutions. So equity must be embedded into how solutions are designed and funded. Next slide. So everyday skills, extraordinary impact. So, like everyday skills, we're talking about like storytelling. Storytelling, you tell good stories, you advocate. You're able to go into advocacy, advocate for change. With your skill in tech, you're able to create access where there isn't any. With your ability to design, you're creating efficiency, efficiency in production, efficiency, in work, efficiency in different things, right? And then with collaboration, you're able to build to scale watch projects, scale initiatives, scale different things. So you don't need to be an inventor to innovate. Everyday skills that apply when applied intentionally can transform systems and lives. So next slide, we're going to look at community-driven, we're going to look at the fact that community-driven innovation works. Okay, so rigorous studies from the UK, Tanzania, Congo, Philippines, US, etc. They all demonstrate significant improvements in income, health outcomes, mental well-being, social connectedness, and policy change when communities lead, provided adequate support, capacity building, and attention to equitable participation are in place. So examples, you can see examples in indigenous knowledge systems. So indigenous communities across Canada are driving innovation in climate resilient housing. And these are examples, these are the Hitsuk Nation. And then you also have the indigenous protected areas, which is the Seal River watershed, or the food sovereignty, the Taknua, the people. So cultural revitalization through canoe building, the Kitigan, Zibi, Mikba people. And then you have community-led sustainability assessment framework, right? So demonstrating that economic community-driven innovation rooted in traditional knowledge produces measurable outcome in conservation, governance, and intergenerational well-being. Then the next one we're looking at is the youth-led climate. The next slide we're looking at is the youth-led climate enterprises. So young innovators building businesses that address climate change from ground up. So these are examples. So there are powerful evidence that community-driven innovation works, generating measurable environmental, economic, and social impact by empowering young people to design and implement solutions rooted in local knowledge. Now, these are examples. So these are projects, I think, funded by Kitchener, right? And there are different projects, really having great impact. Then another area where community-driven innovation works are in grassroots circular economic projects. So grassroots circular economic projects across Canada demonstrates that community-driven innovation works because they are rooted in local knowledge, driven by community participation, adapted to specific contexts. There's a resistance to one-size-fits-all solution. So at the BC First Nation, so this example that is on here, it shows when communities lead and when they are supported with appropriate resources rather than controlled by external mandates, they produce results that top-down approaches consistently fail to achieve. So solutions last longer when communities are co-creators, not recipients. So lived experiences is a form of expertise. Next slide. So the next slide, we're looking at, you know, at how we operate, right? So I'll scan our ideas to impact, our awareness to action model. So at scan and environments, we move ideas into action. So a quick example, why seek initiative just mentioned above. So creativity becomes impact when paired with skills, collaboration, and accountability. So here we're looking at awareness, recognize the challenge, creativity, generate innovative ideas, action, implement chosen solutions, and impact, measure lasting change. Next slide. Okay, so from me to we. So in every webinar we do, we have a creativity challenge, right? That it's done every month. So for this one, it's for this creativity challenge. These are all the different things that we can do. So prototype a solution, creative storytelling, redesign for equity, apply innovation, mentor or collaborate. So you pick one of these um, for 30 days, and we will guide you as to how to do. More information will be provided towards the end of the webinar. So this challenge invites you to turn imagination into action individually or with collective impact. Okay. And as we do this, there's always the need to measure your impact, right? And we're measuring your impact. That's the next slide. Measuring your impact. We use a digital dashboard, right? And that's Slack. Next slide. Yeah. So we move to let's see. Yes, so with measuring impact, you have actions completed, we track actions completed, skills applied, and people reached and outcomes generated, right? That's how with that our impacts are measured. This is the system that we follow. And with the challenge, this is what we're going to be doing. So creativity becomes credible when we measure results. So tracking progress helps ideas grow and attract support. So key takeaways. A key takeaways. So creativity drives equity, innovative thinking opens doors and levels the playing field for all. Action. Innovation builds resilience, communities that innovate, adapt, recover, and thrive in the face of change. Impact. Everyone has a role, from individuals to institutions. Every creative act contributes to a better world. So creativity is a renewable resource when it's inclusive. It fuels prosperity for all. Last slide. Finally, okay, the future is created, not predicted. So diversity and innovation across communities, cultures, and disciplines are the engine for change. Are the engine for change. We need for people, planet, and prosperity. So your ideas matter, creativity matters. And when we act together, innovation becomes transformation. Thank you.